Welcome back, my love, to Skin Deep, a sanctuary for the woman you are and the child you once were. This is a space where we peel back the layers of what shaped you quietly, emotionally, and spiritually. I'm Kiara Charles, and today we walk into the motherline, the generational thread woven through your heart, your identity, and the hidden places of your inner child. This conversation is not about blame. It's about remembrance. It's about restoring the parts of you your mother could not reach because no one reached her. And today, we begin the journey of becoming the mother you needed. Let's go deeper. Reparenting is the sacred act of returning to yourself. It's not about rewriting history. It's about healing the parts of you that history wounded. And today, we walk into the longing, the ache, the unmet needs, and the unspoken stories that live where your mother's love could not reach. You are not here to repeat the mother line. You are here to liberate it. Reparenting is the birthplace of emotional resurrection. Inner child attunement. The child inside of you finally becomes heard, seen, and understood, not dismissed, not silenced, not shamed. Emotional repair. You learn to soothe yourself in ways your mother could not soothe you. You learn to hold emotions instead of hiding them. Rewriting developmental patterns. You unravel the emotional conditioning that shaped your self-worth, your relationships, and your identity. Reclaiming nurturance. Softness becomes allowed. Rest becomes holy. Tenderness becomes accessible. Becoming your own safe space. This is the moment you stop searching for the mother you needed, and you realize you have become her. Our first relationship with love is our mother. If she was overwhelmed, emotionally unavailable, or inconsistent, your nervous system learned instability before it learned language. Attachment wounds. Your system learned to cling, perform, overextend, or emotionally shut down. Emotional misattunement. If she could not feel you, you learn to disconnect from your own emotions to survive. Hyper-responsibility. You become the adult too soon, emotionally older than your age. Conditional love templates. So here, love becomes something earned, proven, and performed. Identity formed through survival. You learn to become who you needed to be, but not who you truly were. The mother wound is ancestral. Older than your childhood, older than your mother, older than memory. Generational silence. Your lineage learned to endure emotions, not express them. Learn emotional neglect. Your mother gave what she had, not what she needed. Patterns of self-sacrifice. Women in your lineage were taught to disappear into their roles. Unmothered mothers. Your mother was a daughter who never learned how to be mothered herself. Daughters carrying what wasn't theirs. You inherited emotional debts you never created. When you grow up parentified or with a parental wound, nurturance feels suspicious. Kindness feels unreal. Softness feels unsafe. You overfunction because love felt conditional. You never feel enough because validation was inconsistent. You people please because peace felt earned, not natural. You disappear emotionally because visibility once bought rejection. You mother everyone, even in spaces you're supposed to be supported. Friends, co-workers, partners, because nurturing others feels easier than receiving it. You take on emotional labor, no one reciprocates. You carry workloads bigger than your job description. You never ask for support because your inner child learned support was unpredictable. The unmothered inner child lives in a quiet ache. She grieves what she never received. She fears softness because softness was once unmet. She feels like too much because her emotions overwhelmed her caregivers. She feels like not enough because she was never mirrored back as worthy. You grew up believing you had to mother everyone to be loved. So you overgive, you choose partners who cannot meet you emotionally, you accept breadcrumbs because those crumbs were familiar. You never learn how to receive because receiving felt dangerous. I came into this world as an old soul. I've known that for as long as I can remember. But my abuse accelerated that aging, pushing me out of childhood before I had a chance to live inside of it. When I was young, I always dreamed of being a shooting star, soaring through space, traveling through dimensions, returning to a place in my mind that made me stronger every time I visited. Maybe that was God's way of reminding me that I came from somewhere higher, somewhere ancient, somewhere wise. Growing up, I felt alone, not because people weren't around me, but because no one validated what I felt. Whenever overwhelming emotions rose up in me, I tried to confide in adults around me, but I was met with resistance and dismissal and shame. I was told emotions don't get you anywhere, and I was told crying makes you weak. And so my heart broke itself into compartments, turning into a maze so complicated that even I struggled to navigate it. I became obsessed with improvement, with logic, with making sense of everything. And that obsession blocked out the emotional and the spiritual parts of my life that were crying to be seen. People projected onto me my entire life, but it began with my mother. Her wounds became my assignments. Her shadows became my responsibility. And her voice became louder inside of me than my own sense of purpose. I was raised to be of service, not to myself, but to the person who gave me life. And for a long time, that felt normal. She's my mother. I owe her. But the truth is, I was taught to abandon myself before I even learned who myself was. Yet even in that darkness, God was speaking. It wasn't until I became a mother that God revealed the truth. I needed to reparent myself. My son was my first mirror, my first revelation, my first divine interruption. I began noticing myself imposing the same rules, the same emotional limitations, the same boundaries that were projected onto me growing up. I didn't see what I was doing at first, but I saw the impact. And that forced me to face the internal woman I had ignored. I realized that I was turning into the very thing that made me feel like an alien in my own childhood. When I looked at my son, I didn't see a child. I saw a young prince, a royal soul, someone who came here with purpose, someone who came here to save me from the illusion of myself. And if I could see royalty in him, then what did that say about the woman who birthed him? That revelation blew my mind wide open, but it also humbled me deeply. God trusted me with this soul because I needed a living reflection of the love I had been withholding from myself. My children were not accidents. They were divine assignments, a Wheel of Fortune moment turning me towards favor, blessing, and purpose. Through them, God showed me something sacred. Parents, especially divine feminine vessels, are portals, carriers of life force, chosen to bring souls into this room. For God loved the world enough to send his only begotten Son. Parenthood is a reflection of God's willingness to sacrifice, to give life. God whispered to me, "My grace is sufficient for you." Meaning, even when your earthly parents failed, you were never spiritually unparented. God Himself becomes your parent, your provider, your comforter, your intercessor, and most importantly, your friend. Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Parenthood helped me understand obedience, not the obedience the world teaches where you sacrifice yourself for approval, but divine obedience. The obedience to your inner truth, your soul's voice, your heart's natural rhythm. Obedience is better than sacrifice because the world conditions us to sacrifice who we truly are for external validation. But true obedience brings you back to yourself. It strips away everything the world put on you. It brings you face to face with your soul in its rawest, naked form. And in that moment, you find your purpose. You find that it was never about becoming more. It was always about returning to who you've always been. Reparenting is deeper than healing the inner child. It is clearing ancestral debt. It is restoring divine inheritance. It is completing the work your mother and her mother and her mother never had the tools to finish. My love, you are not a mistake. You are a generational correction. Do the work. Do it messy. Do it fearful. Do it trembling. Do it tired. But do it. Because God is waiting to welcome the whole you into the home of your divine purpose. This is the spiritual layer. The place where you stop seeing your mother wound as pain and start seeing it as an assignment. You are the breaker of patterns. You didn't just inherit a mother line. You came here to transform it. And you are the one your lineage has been praying for. The one sent to end cycles. The one sent to restore softness, nurturance, and truth back into the bloodline. You incarnated to liberate the mother line. Your soul chose this family, this mother, these wounds, not to suffer, but to liberate generations in both directions of time. Your healing frees the woman before you and protects the daughters who will come after you. And your healing reverberates backwards and forwards. When you heal your heart, your ancestors feel the shift. When you speak your truth out loud, your children breathe differently. Healing the mother line is multidimensional. You are healing past, present, and future simultaneously. The inner mother is your divine inheritance. When earthly mothers cannot meet your needs, God steps in as divine mother. Psalm 27:10 says, "Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." And Isaiah 66:13 declares, "As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you." Your healing journey is God saying, "I am restoring you, the mothering you were denied." The mother within you is the echo of God's voice. So listen to it. This is the divine perspective, the heavenly truth behind your earthly wound. You are not unworthy of nurturing. Your parents' inability to love you was not a reflection of your worth, your beauty, your innocence, or your purpose. Their emotional limitations were the result of their own unhealed story, and you were never meant to internalize what they never received. You were born to restore it. This is your divine assignment. This is your calling, and this is why you came through this line. Ezekiel 36:26 says, "I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you." This is the spiritual promise given to cycle breakers. The promise that your heart will not repeat the patterns of your lineage. God gave you the new heart, you the new spirit, you the mothering blueprint your lineage never had access to. You were not here to continue the wound. You're here to end it. Now let's take a look at some practical healing. Reparenting rituals. These are small daily acts of nurturance, talking to your inner child, giving yourself permission to rest, feeding your body, touching your heart with tenderness. These rituals teach your system, I am safe with myself. Next, inner child journaling. Write to your inner child, speak to her. Let her tell you what she never had the courage to say. Let her reveal the unmet needs you're still carrying. Grieving the unmet needs. Grief is not a setback. It is a doorway to freedom. You must mourn the mother you did not receive so you can become the mother you needed. Building emotional vocabulary. Name the feelings your mother never taught you to understand. These may be hurt, loneliness, frustration, confusion, longing, sadness. Naming is healing. Self-soothing without shame. You were taught to reject softness, and reparenting is the reclamation of that. So be soft. Now let's look at some practical healing and a spiritual aspect. So the motherline prayer. Speak healing into your lineage. Every woman before me and every woman after me is free through this healing. Amen. Heart opening breath work. Because the heart closes from mother wounds, breathing reopens the spiritual circulation. Invoking the Divine Mother. Ask God to reveal the nurturing presence you were denied. Let the Holy Spirit mother your heart. Release inherited burdens. Return the emotional weight you've carried that was never yours. Release guilt, shame, and generational expectation. Lastly, bless your lineage forward. Your daughters will not inherit your wounds. They will inherit your healing. Yes. Integration is where everything you've learned, felt, remembered, grieved, and reclaimed becomes embodied. Yes. This is the moment your healing becomes a lifestyle, not just a lesson. Let's walk through both sides of your integration. Psychological integration, self-compassion. Your healing deepens the moment you stop judging the little girl inside of you for the ways that she learned to survive. Self-compassion is a voice that said, you did the best you could with what you had. It replaces the shame with softness and the hardness with humanity, okay? Inner safety. You begin to feel safe inside yourself instead of seeking safety from others. This is the rewiring of your nervous system. The part of you that once lived in emotional alertness finally learns to excel. Inner safety is the foundation of reparenting. Emotional permission. You no longer fear your own feelings. You give yourself permission to cry, to rest, to grieve, to laugh, to pause, and to feel without guilt or self-blame. This is the moment you reclaim emotional freedom from the suppression you learned in childhood. A big one, boundaries. Boundaries become the act of mothering yourself. They stop being walls of self-protection and become pathways to self-respect. Boundaries say, my inner child will not be abandoned again. Reparenting the mother womb. This is not about fixing your mother. It's about healing the parts of your heart that believed her limitations were your failures. Repairing the mother womb means you stop living from the identity you formed in survival and start living from the identity formed in truth. Now let's hop over to spiritual integration. Soul restoration. Your soul regathers pieces of you that trauma scattered across time. God restores the innocence you thought you lost forever. This is spiritual resurrection. Your inner child returns to the throne of your heart. Ancestral liberation. Your healing doesn't begin with you, and it doesn't end with you. When you heal, you set your lineage free. You close the wounds your ancestors carried and prevent them from being the wounds that your children inherit. This is generational deliverance. Amen. Okay. Next is heart coherence. Your heart becomes aligned with your truth. The emotional, spiritual, and energetic fragments of you fall into rhythm again. You stop living divided. You stop living in emotional chaos. Your heart beats in harmony with your purpose. Divine mothering. This is where God steps in as the mother you never had, the voice that comforts without condition, the presence that nurtures without depletion. You learn to mother yourself through the way God mothers you. Becoming the healed matriarch. This is the highest embodiment of reparenting. You become the woman your lineage needed, the healed matriarch, the blueprint, the restoration, the beginning of a new bloodline. So proud of you. This affirmation is your rebirth. It is the declaration that ends the cycle. It is the moment you return to yourself as protector, nurturer, guide, and guardian. I became the mother. This is just simply saying, I stepped into the role I needed as a child. I chose myself. I honored myself. I became the one who would not abandon me, who finally saw me. Your inner child is no longer invisible. You see her, you hold her, you listen to her, you validate her, you love her in the language she understands. This is not affirmation. This is identity. This is destiny. This is liberation. You have become the mother your lineage dreamed of. Congratulations, my love. And even if you, I want to say this disclaimer really quick, because a lot of my videos, I actually speak them in real time. And there's a reason for that. Because I already affirmed that if you are listening to this, that you are healed. Okay. So when I say, if you're listening to this right now and you are struggling with these wounds, you are struggling with your healing, you are just going through the darkest night of the soul ever, and you feel lonely and you feel down and you feel depressed and you feel like you have no one, baby, I am here to tell you that you make it on the other side of that. So keep moving forward. God is going to send the resources and the very things that you need to make it through. Just like you found this video. This is just confirmation. What you're doing right now was already set in stone. This is just confirmation that God is speaking through me to you. Baby, you are healed. You are healed. No matter what it looks like, no matter what you're going through, no matter where you're at in your journey right now, you are healed. Congratulations. You did it, and I'm proud of you. Thank you, my love, for walking this sacred path with me today. Motherline healing is not light work. It's ancestral work. It's soul work. It's the kind of healing that rearranges your entire spiritual architecture. Trust me, I know. If something stirred inside of you, if your inner child shifted, softened, or whispered, then your journey is open. To continue this work with deeper intimacy, my healing journal gives you pages, prompts, and practices to reparent your inner child every single day. And my guided meditations guide you through the release of grief, calling in your inner child, and reconnecting with the Divine Mother. My one-on-one healing sessions are for you when you feel like you need them. If your heart needs guidance, clarity, or someone to just hold space for the version of you that's emerging. You can find all of these tools live at kiaracharles.com, created to support your transformation as the healed matriarch of your lineage. Until next time, walk in compassion, walk in clarity, walk in divine identity, okay? And remember, healing the mother line is how you return home to yourself. So stay rooted and stay focused and stay skin deep.